up, guys? Bobby here from Universe Retro. So I got a really cool video for you today, especially if you're a fan of horror or more exact horror movies from the 80s. So as most of you guys know, the 80s were just a crazy time, whether it be for film, for video games, for just society in general. People were throwing around money everywhere, and everybody seemed to be like in the position where they could just make it big. So this definitely translated over to movies and in return horror movies as a genre. So the 80s was possibly the best and most bizarre decade for horror movies. You saw some of the craziest ideas getting filmed, and like with the popularity of VHS and video stores, you saw shot on video just taking off. Everywhere you went into the video store, you would see crazy, gory, shot on video, cheapy horror movies. This was both good and bad. While you got absolutely gold ideas sometimes, and some movies took off and formed franchises based on just shot on video stuff, you also got a whole lot of junk. So my favorite thing about horror films of the 80s was the fact that some truly bizarre ideas made their way onto the beautiful medium of VHS. So with this video, I wanted to tell all of you about some absolutely crazy, bizarre, insane, can't believe they made it horror films from the 80s that you might not have seen. So stay tuned after this message from my buddies over at the Funbox Monster Podcast to see my picks for the 5 totally crazy, bizarre, insane horror films from the 80s that you might not have seen. So stay tuned.
Hey everybody, I'm Tristan.
I'm Matt Awkward.
And we are the Funbox Monster Podcast, and this week we're doing the Alien Factor.
Ooh, it's the sequel to The Deadly Spawn.
The Alien's Deadly Spawn.
Yes, the return
of the Alien's Deadly Spawn.
And you are watching awesome videos on Universe Retro, so make sure you keep checking that out, and check us out.
Yes, at Funbox Monster Podcast.
I'm gonna go check it out right now.
On the Instagram.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that message from my buddies over there at the Funbox Monster Podcast. Great dudes. Love their podcast. They're informative. They talk about movies that I can't believe they made, like the ones we're talking about today. And then they talk about some of the bigger ones too, which is great. So definitely check them out. Hilarious guys. The first pick on my 5 totally bizarre, crazy horror movies of the 80s that I can't believe they made has got to be Spookies. If you are a horror fan that has seen Spookies, you know exactly why I'm putting it on this list. So Spookies was released back in 1986, and it's super wild. The plot follows a lost kid and a group of partying teenagers that are finding an abandoned mansion, and they become trapped inside as a warlock tries to sacrifice the group with the intention of using their vitality to keep his wife alive. Crazy. So the story isn't the reason to watch this movie, actually, as bizarre as that sounds. You want to watch it for the monsters. There's tons of crazy creatures in this monster, from the Spider Woman to the farting poop demons. No, I'm not kidding. Farting poop demons. This is one of those movies where the cover of the DVD or the VHS or the poster or whatever is actually legit. All the monsters on the cover of this movie are in the movie. It's crazy, weird, and one of those films that you really need to see. If you want to check it out, it's currently on YouTube in its entirety, so go check it out. So another crazy, insane, bizarre horror film from 1986, actually the same year as Spookies, is Neon Maniacs. Neon Maniacs was actually featured on Funbox Monster Podcast, the guys that you saw previously, on a great episode they did. So definitely check out that episode if you want to know more about Neon Maniacs. But like I said, Neon Maniacs was way back in 1986, same year as the Spookies that I was talking about, and it's about these crazy killers. There's 12 actually in all that you really don't know much about. They live under the Golden Gate Bridge, and they come out and kill people. And they come out to kill these people, and one girl escapes, and now they're after her, and they're killing others along the way. It's one of the most bizarre films of the 80s. And yet it's really fun. It's a fun, bizarre, crazy horror film. The effects are super cool. The killers are all unique. The tone changes, honestly, to the point where it almost feels like a different movie. Because it starts out, it's
like a super gory horror film.
Then all of a sudden, it is almost
like a kid film. It almost is like silly and slapsticky.
Then it all of a sudden switches back to gory horror.
So it's so much fun, and it's not only a must-see for the 12 killers that all kill people individually with their own style, but mainly for the adult that plays somebody that we're supposed to believe is 10 to 12 years old, complete with sideways baseball cap. And you know, that's how you do it, right? When you don't have special features or effects or anything like that, or digital effects, and it's 1986 and you need a 10 to 12 year old kid, you get an adult and you do this.
Right before your eyes, I just became a 10 to 12 year old kid just by flipping my hat sideways. And
Now I'm an adult. Easy as that. So that, honestly, is one of the best reasons to watch this movie, other than the crazy special effects. That is awesome. So if you want to check out this one, you can actually check it out right now through the Tubi app. If you don't know about Tubi, I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end. But Tubi is the totally free app that you can get on Fire Stick, PC, mobile, and more. But yeah, totally free to watch it right now, and I highly recommend Neon Maniacs. Alright, number 3, we got Cannibal Campout. Cannibal Campout was released straight to video in mom and pop video stores everywhere back in 1988, and a lot of you probably remember the cover. It was released right in the middle of the shot-on-video horror craze that was sweeping video stores at the time. It was released in mom and pop video stores all over the place and gained a lot of notoriety for its crazy, gory cover, which is actually nowhere in the movie at all, but it catches your eye nonetheless. I remember walking around the video store and seeing this and being freaked out beyond belief just from this cover and wanting to see it based on that alone. The story, it follows some 20-something-year-olds going camping in the woods, and they run into deranged hillbillies, one that wears a fighter pilot helmet, oddly enough. The hillbillies are also cannibals, big surprise. Cannibal Campout is cheap, it's poorly acted, and the effects are painfully cheesy, but it's fun. There's no way to take this movie seriously. This is one that you need to see based on the bizarre dialogue and over-the-top acting. Plus the fact that the filmmakers were able to get this distributed on a large scale that it ended up having. It's pretty impressive that it had the reach it did based on, you know, the low budget, the extremely low budget. It's pretty impressive. So you can check it out currently on YouTube. It's up there in its full entirety. You can type it up, search Cannibal Campout, and you're good to go. But I'll tell you, if you stream it, when you start watching it, don't think that your internet is going slow or it's buffering really bad or the quality's bad because of your internet. It really looks that bad. So go check out Cannibal Campout. I think you might just have a good time. Alright guys, we're almost to number 5, but we got number 4. Number 4 is called Evil Dead Trap. And you heard that right, I said Evil Dead Trap. It has absolutely nothing to do with Evil Dead and Ash Williams and you know, the Evil Dead franchise that features Bruce Campbell. Totally different. So Evil Dead Trap was released in 1988 and was brought to us by Southeast Asian filmmakers. So it was filmed over there. You're gonna have to watch it in subtitles. I don't think there's a dubbed version, but I could be wrong. But
It's great.
so the story follows a TV crew that attempts to discover the source of a possible snuff film, and they find themselves trapped in this warehouse by a crazed killer. Up until this point in 1988, it's actually really kind of hard to find a slasher movie that is at this level that this one is at. Everything is pushed to the absolute max. The kills, the gore, the violence, everything is pumped up. The atmosphere is absolutely
Insane level.
It's crazy suspenseful, and the storyline just keeps getting more and more bizarre. Although it contains some crazy, gruesome violence,
the reason this movie is absolutely nuts and you need to watch it
is the climax. It literally has to be seen to be believed.
It's crazy.
If you want to check out this crazy, crazy action flick, Evil Dead Trap, it's also on YouTube in its entirety. So I highly recommend it. It's so good. Congrats, guys. You stuck with it. You've made it through
1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're
Number 5.
of the craziest flicks from the 80s that I can't believe they made. So thank you for sticking through it all the way to the end at number 5. Number 5 is different than the other 4, as that it's not a traditional horror film. Number 5
Is Dead Heat.
Dead Heat isn't totally a horror flick. It's a crazy mix-up of horror flick and buddy cop movie that could have only been made in the crazy 80s. Released in 88. It features Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo as cops that initially investigate bodies coming alive in the morgue. Shortly after this, Piscopo's character himself is
bitten and becomes a zombie.
but not just a zombie.
A walking, talking zombie cop.
Dead Heat mixes a cop comedy, violent action, zombies, a mad scientist, all together in a film that I'm honestly was very impressed that was actually financed. It also features, get this,
Vincent freaking Price.
legendary actor Vincent Price. It's weird, bizarre, funny, and a great time. The reason you need to see this is because of the hilarious comedy, from the lines to the acting, down to the fact that Treat Williams' character is named Roger Mortis. That's the kind of crazy Easter egg funny comedy that's in this movie. If you want to check out Dead Heat, it's currently available to stream for absolutely free on the previously mentioned Tubi app. Go get on it. Speaking of the Tubi app, this is not a paid endorsement by any means, but if you're a fan of horror, especially 80s and 90s horror, it's a great free app that contains tons of obscure and straight-to-video horror. It's totally free and has very minimal commercials. I think all horror fans should definitely have it. It's available on a multitude of devices, from PC to Fire Stick to Roku to even game consoles. Check out Tubi, it's awesome. Thank you so much for watching this video and sticking through all 5 crazy, bizarre horror flicks from the 80s you may not have heard of. This is by far not the only bizarre horror flicks made in the 80s, so use this as a springboard, if you will, to get into some of the best years for originality in horror. If you love any of these films, or you have a film that you think should have made the list, please leave it in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and as always, in this universe, we keep it retro. See you guys.